Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of NPC Contact, the podcast dedicated to anything and everything old school RuneScape.
Yeah, it is.
I'm your host, Will, and I'm joined as usual by Dana.
Hello.
And Grant.
Hello.
How are we doing, fellas?
Not bad. I just ordered some AirPods. They're going to be here in a minute. Pretty buzzing.
Absolutely brilliant.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, yeah. If Dane sounds like he's muffling something, then it's just the Jaffa Cakes. All right, just
No regrets.
There's nothing else. He's not under the desk. Right. Okay. So we're gonna start off this week's podcast with a new segment that I'm introducing called Friends Chat, which is basically where, because I was going through like editing them all, and I'm like, we're like jumping into the blogs and stuff straight away, and I feel like it would be kind of nice to just have a little bit of a chat at the start, see what we've been up to in the week. Any sort of funny RS related stories that you want to share about what you've been doing, or anything cool that's happened, because we play the game. We don't just sit there reading blogs and having like theoretical discussions about shit.
Speak for yourself, mate.
False.
Sorry. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, you can just have a little chat. So have you been up to anything interesting this week, fellas, or is
I'm going to
been...
shoot an Uno Reflect card. I'm going to ask you a question.
Fuck me.
What have you been up to this week?
Uno, is that like Uno Reverse, but the RS3?
Yeah, Reverse. Yeah,
Uno Reflect.
Sorry, Vogue Splash.
Shut up. No one's going to get that.
I don't know. What have I been up to?
What have you been doing?
I've got 95 rune crafting sorted out earlier this week, and 93 93 agility earlier today. I'm starting to learn the 5th floor of the Sepulchre, which is actually quite easy, apart from that last obstacle. That is just like, fuck you.
You've been streaming it on Discord and really been showing the pain.
Yeah, it's been a real journey trying to learn that one, but I'm starting to get the hang of it now, and I've nearly got all of my what they called hallowed marks sorted to buy all of my gear, because I went straight for the dark graceful, because that's way more important than items that. Right? Yeah. So I need to get the amulet. I think that's the only piece that I need, and then I need to save up for the dark acorn, which I thought was 3,000.
Yeah, because you got the pad, didn't you?
Yeah, at like 88 or something from floor 4.
Again,
I thought they changed it from.
For all, mate.
Shut up. Yeah, it's listed as 5,000 marks in the shop, but I thought they polled to change it to 3,000. Has that just not happened yet?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what I've been up to. Yeah, it's just been maxing shit, really.
I've literally just been, because I am maxed, by the way. So I've just been doing a lot of. No, I've just been doing my regular pet hunting. Really, did a bit of Cerberus, did about 4 Cerberus tasks. Absolutely nothing.
Oh yeah, that's an unlucky one.
Yeah, just been kind of doing.
Your bingo really finished this week, didn't it?
It did.
I remember.
And I did really well.
Where did you come, Grant? Last or second to last?
Third last, obviously, you fraud. Okay, third last.
Strange flex.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's your team fucking you over more than anything.
True, but I did, on another note, get an Elysian Spirit Shield lens, so I think I'm going to make my way back into the Dreaded Inferno releasing.
No, you're not allowed to do that. I have to max before you get your Infernal Cape.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah,
that's
not allowed.
The plan anyway for me. What about you, Dane? Love that. Right, moving on. So,
I'm just trying to think. I can't remember.
He's just eating Jaffa Cakes. That's all he's done all week. Fat cunt.
Wish that was true.
Taking his nan's dogs.
What have I done? I have got 90 Slayer this week. That's quite a nice achievement.
Oh yeah. For your elites.
Yeah, I did a diary. Yeah, got that. I can't remember which diary it was, but that's an elite out of the way.
I just said Corrend, but
yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
So that is now finished. I got actually got today. I got 96 defense, which is decent.
Solid.
And I've just done quite a lot of skilling actually. Like I'm like 700k off 99 fishing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you get 98 the other day?
Yeah, we've been fishing like past like 5 days.
Are you going for max day? And I forget.
Slowly, I think.
Very slowly, yeah.
Not like me.
Slowly. Just sort of, just doing it if I can be asked.
I've seen you on RS3 quite a bit last sort of week.
I've been doing a bit of Raxor again. I'm thinking about learning Telos, so I've been looking at perks and what I'd need ideally, but
still fucking luck.
Would you be looking to swap GP or just keep it on there?
No, I just make it back from Raxor like I did. I've got decent Araxor luck, so.
No, I mean, your Araxor luck is fucking like, oh my god.
No, I mean, as in like when you get to a point where you're quite rich, would you swap GP over to here?
I'd probably like not all of it. I've because like it since I started playing RS3 again, I've swapped like probably 800 mil back over to old school, but I've still kept some just trying to have fun with basically, and also some weapons. I've just done quite a lot of skilling actually. Like done some RC bloods, obviously. Done some thieving, done some herb, done some
Bloods are the
crafting.
one, man.
Mate, jack of all trades, Aura must be.
What can I say?
Auras, man, get them in the bin. I'm sorry, I hate them. Move on.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Let's start having a look at the blogs. So the two that we're going to have a look at are Pulse 72 and Pulse 73. Shut up, Grant.
Oh no way.
So we're gonna
give me any number and it's that one.
We're gonna have a very brief look at the Pulse 72 updates. Nothing really too interesting going on. We've already had a look at the blog, but there is a big post about the Revenant caves. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read all of it.
It's where they briefly spoke about moving them, correct?
But it's they're looking at like an integrity change for it. So there's a huge block of text in there, and from what I can gather, obviously the community at the moment isn't too happy with the way that the caves are handled, right? It seems like it's just held by clans.
I'll come back to myself.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Yeah, like the problem seems to be that everyone thinks that it's sad that it's held by clans, and the clans are like encouraging real world trading and stuff. So the idea is they want to change the way that revenants work, and they've had a bunch of suggestions thrown by the community. Just as a brief overview, Jagex aren't a fan of banning clans from holding down the area because they feel like encouraging that sort of open.
It's an MMO.
Yeah, like exactly, it's an MMO. Open world PvP is just a thing that has always existed. They obviously don't want to remove the caves, which some people want, and they don't want to make it so that it's task only, so you can only go in there with a Slayer task to get rev kills. But they are looking at other alternatives like remapping the caves, sort of similar to how they did the Neve Stronghold Slayer cave thing. They changed that, sort of accommodate more monsters and move things to other parts of the game. So they want to look at remapping the caves and also adjusting the drop rates so that the majority of the money that you get comes from the actual items themselves. So the crossbow, Vigorous Chain Mace, the staff, I can't remember the name of the staff, as well as the relics.
Famaron's Scepter.
So, look at you. So I really just wanted to get your opinion on this. I know that we don't really go and fight revenants that often because wilderness is a scary place. So what do we think?
Well, it's a big block of text.
Blig block.
It's a blig.
It is.
So what my original question was, what is the actual problem with the caves themselves? As in, are people just annoyed that they're getting like
so
as soon as they're getting killed by a clan, or is it the fact that
the sentiment from Reddit, as we all know, Reddit is the best place for all
Reddit has
knowledge.
never lied. It is literally the
apparently 76 billion GP is being put into the game every day by real world traders. So whether that's Venezuelans or whatever it might be that are holding down. And the issue is that a lot of the clans that hold down certain worlds are getting cut in. So they're earning a lot of money from holding down the worlds, which is encouraging more real world trading. And it's just sort of like a circle of dumb.
You see, my problem with it really is the fact that, as you said, PvP and clans and all that kind of stuff, it's always been there regardless of what game we play. But the problem with it is the fact that nowadays you really can't kill revs without having to pay off a clan. It's a bit sad, really. The content, that's like me having to like pay a fee to like Wooks to go chop redwoods. I mean, it's just stupid. Yeah.
The real question is that an issue? And I don't say that
think it is,
as like, someone that has a side in the agenda. I just want to pose the question. Do you guys think that that's a problem? Because
I think it's an issue. I don't think clans are a problem. I think clans should be able to go and kill as many people as they want. That's what they do. It's fine. But I don't think they should be receiving money for quote unquote paid protection, because then it gets to the point where a normal player can't just go and kill the things. It just seems a bit much for me personally.
This is a bit tricky because I think on one hand, I don't think that they can just be removed, because otherwise that just means that there's less.
No, I don't want them removed either.
Yeah, like I think that's just stupid, and it means that all the other hotspots will just have like just more clans there to kill people who are doing like a boss or whatever in the wilderness. So I don't understand why people would want that.
I was a massive fan of the roaming thing. Sorry to interrupt. I was a massive fan of the roaming revenant thing.
There is a section on the post that talks about roaming revenants. I was going to bring that up, but
that goes against what they want, though, isn't it?
Well, Jagex said that they said that there's no point in really doing that because then you're just going to get clans holding down the spots that the revenants spawned in. So it doesn't change anything. It just moves the issue, like it spreads the issue out, which might be a better way of dealing with it, but they don't.
What I was going
to
say is like, well, the issue may still be there because they're going to be all over the place, but right now they're just all in one area. So it would be a lot more difficult.
I think the best way to combat this would be to literally just maybe rebalance the rewards a bit so that you're only going to make lots of GP if you're getting the actual drops themselves, like the actual items,
for sure.
And then making it so that the map of the cave itself has more exit points, entry points, etc. So that it's harder for clans to actually do what they're doing, because that makes it a bit fairer on both sides. I mean, not that I'd ever go there, as you two probably know. It's a scary place. But...
well, we can make money elsewhere. You know what I mean? I'm not. Yeah. It's a great moneymaker, but I can do anything else. I don't.
The other thing that they've spoken about is changing the way that the ethereal bracelet works. So for those that don't know, if you wear the bracelet and you have charges in the bracelet, you take 0 damage from revenants. So they want to sort of. Well,
that's a bit OP.
They're looking at rebalancing it so that you maybe take a bit less damage rather than none, so that way you can't just stay there like indefinitely with the protection of a clan. As for like clans in general, it's not something that bothers me. Like thinking back to the old days, you used to have people that ran businesses where you would hire flax pickers or whatever and you pay them X amount. So like I have no problem with the idea of selling your services for GP in terms of like in-game.
I don't mind that.
Like I don't mind that.
Is it just completely like for example? No, I agree with you. I think I as someone who back in the day used to sell dungeoneering floors, I have no problem with it. But the issue is for me is there's a difference between selling a service to make things more convenient and locking off the content completely without having to pay for said service.
Yeah, well, I mean, you bring up dungeoneering floors because I think all 3 of us have sold floors. And there's a difference between making it more convenient and literally telling someone to just AFK in base while you go and solo the entire floor.
Yeah, sure.
So, I don't know, it does seem throughout the history of RuneScape, not necessarily old school, but RuneScape as a game, that there has been, like, it is an accepted practice to do this sort of thing. I think the issue for most people is the sheer amount of volume of money that it generates.
It's too much. Like because obviously with payment, right? With payment, you would think you're not going to get attacked. You still do, by the way. But you're not going to get attacked.
Get revenge
you're free to kill these revenants. They drop a lot. Like it's a lot of alcohols. It's a lot of money. Like it's actually a ridiculous amount of money. You can make more money doing revenants than you can at TOB.
Yeah. So
that's ridiculous.
That to me is the crux of the issue. So rebalancing the cave in terms of adding more exits and entries, changing the drop rate of stuff, I'd be okay with that. I think that's the best place to start. And if it's still a problem, then we can look at something more extreme.
I agree.
I think we can all agree that a change needs to be made.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a tricky one. I'm not going to be the guy who's going to sit here and talk shit about Jagex because wow. Yeah. They have to do something, and they're doing something.
What does that mean?
No, well, just because people have a really bad
French?
habit of. Yeah, man, I'm actually fluent in French and Glaswegian, would you know? But
no,
I feel like people have a really bad habit of just instantly jumping on Jagex, where it's like it's not really their fault.
This game is it's like very player run.
I feel like you can't really blame them for a clan selling gold for real life gain. That's
the only thing you can be blamed them for is the fact that the sheer amount of vennies that.
Well, actually, how about we remove all gold from the game? Then it's sorted. If we have no items and no money and no game, then there can't be real world trading.
It's just
smiley face.
If we have no servers, then
we've not got any servers anyway.
DDoS Jagex
every 3 months is
correct.
Okie dokie. I think that's about everything we need to say about Revenant Caves. So shall we go on to poll funny number and go through some of the changes that they're.
Oh, it's just the fact that it could have been any other number,
I know. It would have made me
it's
smile if they'd have skipped this and got to 74. But
epic meme, but yeah, you know.
Okay, so I'm going to be running through, or I'm going to be saying every question. We're not going to talk about every question as usual. We're going to talk about ones that we find particularly interesting. So there's a couple of construction updates. Right click option to move or redecorate houses, whatever, quality of life, sure, why not. The combat dummy, this one's relatively interesting. So you can make a bunch of variants for the combat dummy that let you test max hits with certain items like the Keris, leaf-bladed items, revenant weapons, stuff like that. Fan of this? Not a fan of this?
I'm surprised this wasn't a thing before.
Yeah.
Honestly. One thing I would like to add, though, is I was watching some guy, he was talking about it on stream earlier, and he mentioned that I think it'd be really good if you could make it 3x3 so you could see the scythe.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, yeah, I'm a big fan of this.
Top idea guy on stream.
Yeah. Top idea.
I wasn't going to shout him out because then it's just like, you know.
Free advertising from our tiny YouTube channel.
But he mentioned that and I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah, no, that is a good idea. I would just say that like I don't want to have like 11 rooms in my house, each with a dummy for like different shit. So hopefully it's all one dummy.
It should all be one. Yeah.
Or at least have like multiple dummy spaces in the room. So they have like 4 dummies in one room or something.
I imagine that's what would happen, to be honest.
Because I can't imagine like a Vorkath vampire revenant dummy would exist.
They would just be they would thingy around it and they managed to make it like, you know, a magical dummy and it would just do everything. It wouldn't be like, because I think right now it's like an undead thing. It's got a black mask on it as well. Yeah. You can't keep adding stuff, you know. It's got wings now. It's a dragon and it breathes fire.
He's got his Ava's assembler on his back from his Vorkath.
So they would thingy around it and they would,
I'm sure. Jar of Darkness, increase the drop rate to 1,500. Yeah, good for the collection log people.
I've never known why it's been so rare.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never got it.
That's
I mean,
weird.
It's cool, and I own one. I spent way too much money on it. But
how much?
I spent like 14 mil on it.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Holy shit!
Looks cool, man.
I mean, I just spent 250 bill on that fucking crown, so I can't really talk. But
you have the crown from Priv.
Oh my god!
You absolute idiot.
Big-brained POVMer gets a credit card.
Yeah, well, you know, some of us work for a living, you northerner.
Gets a credit card.
Okay, question 4.
Moving on.
Should we? I'm just annoyed half of the people. Okay, should we increase the base number of charges on the Skull Scepter? Yeah, I'm a fan of this. It's only really useful for clues, so sure.
Niche.
It's cool.
Next.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah. Trading in chunks of Skull Scepter. Yeah, I mean everything with the Skull Scepter, I'm fine with them just doing because.
I could see a bunch of angry people going, "No, I went to kill 400 Ankus." Like,
yeah, well, fucking good job. Fuck off.
It's not like that. It's not really much of an achievement.
We're very angsty today, aren't we? There's a lot of.
I'm fuming.
Yeah, I'm in an angry mood. I just want to shout at people.
But just to kind of but for real, like it's the Skull Scepter. Like, why?
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Yeah. Right. The Desert Achievement Diary question. Should we lower the reward tier required for a permanent rope down to the Calphite Queen? No, fuck you. Everyone needs to do elite.
I have 2 answers. 1, I'm going to be arrogant and say no because I did it forehead.
Yep.
Or 2, but let's be honest, it should be lower.
It should be, but...
It should be lower.
I had to do my entire 256 KC there to get the fucking stuffed head. So I've used so many ropes.
What I don't understand about it is the fact that you do the elite diary in the desert to make it easier to kill KQ, but once you do it, you don't want to ever kill KQ again.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're obviously like pet hunting or something.
Sure.
But I think the people that get elite diary, or like, you have no real reason to get the elite. I mean, I guess the desert diary elite is pretty good
Dane's
for the amulet.
He hasn't done any diaries, so Dane, what's your thoughts? What we'll be thinking about, when you eventually get to the point where you can do the hard diary.
Well, thinking? No, I agree. I've not done it yet, actually. I think it's like I've got like 2 elites left, and that's one of them.
Wait, you don't want to go kill KQ 256 times?
Wow, dude.
False.
That is weird.
I think. Should it be changed? Personally, I think yes, it should.
It should.
But at the end of the day, it's been like that since it came out.
Yeah.
Is this just an update to help it? Like for it to be easier for new players, or for it to be easier for like your Iron Man. If it's easier for your Iron Man, then fuck it. No, it should be the same as it always has been. If it's for new players, then it should be changed.
Nah, I'm gonna say yeah, it should be changed.
I'm voting no on this. Fuck all of you that haven't done your Elite Diaries.
I'm gonna be good cop here.
Nope.
Fraud. Next.
So next question. Fuck you. Once players have reached 99 Slayer, should we allow them to get a task from any Slayer Master? I like this.
Does it work from our max cape? Because I have one of those.
Well, I mean, shut the fuck up.
Big brain fades away.
So this,
I'm assuming
this is obviously aimed at pures.
Right? They can't access certain Slayer Masters.
So you need 100 combat to go to Duradel. Most pures max out at about like 82 to 88 combat. So unless you're like a Zerker or whatever, but
wow, I'm choosing to limit myself, but wow, I can't access content that I'm limiting myself for. Wow.
I mean, it's a bit.
Nah, I'm taking it.
Yeah, I know.
You have 99 Slayer.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's not like you're just removing the combat requirement entirely for like no reason.
No, I have no problem with this, but I do have an issue though. This is a completely different topic, but I'm saying it.
Yeah.
It's when people who limit their accounts complain that they don't have access to things. Like, why can't I tie wear this armor? Because I'm 1 defense. Well, like, there's your answer. I don't know.
Yep.
I agree this should be changed, but this should also be asked to people that actually have like level 10 pures with 99 Slayer.
Yeah.
If they've just grinded like a year to get 99 Slayer doing like 30 rats as a task, then they're gonna be pretty pissed off.
Well,
so
as you both know, I am someone that does have a maxed pure. And
15 accounts.
Yep. And you can get tasks from. I think the highest one that you can get tasks from is Konar. So you can do Konar Slayer. I believe 85 combat is required for Neve. So most pures, the AGS pures or that sort of thing, that are maxed can get tasks from her. So there are, masters that you can talk to that will give you tasks that are like decent tasks. But you can't go to Duradel to get yourself like a lot of boss slayer or whatever, should you want to. So I think I don't know, it encourages more pures to get into stuff like PVMing, which I'm obviously a fan of. So for me, this is an easy yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right, gnome gliders, right click to your last destination, sure. Consistency's sake.
Honestly, I thought it was
stuff.
I thought that was in the game already, I'm not gonna lie.
Beekeeper outfit, Grant, you love this, don't you?
Why? What's the point? Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. More things for the collection log.
It's not that much, but it's just like, why is that quality of life poll?
I don't know. Dane, you got a strong opinion on.
Sweden asking Ash what he had for breakfast on the podcast, and I was like, I can't be arsed.
Wait, Grant, what did you have for breakfast?
Next question.
Grant, what did you have for breakfast? It's on the poll. I have to ask.
I don't eat breakfast, mate.
Holy shit! This fucking guy.
Champions, mate.
I'm sorry.
Not a champion.
I 3-tick my lunch. Fuck you. Volcanic mine. Volcanic mine. Grant, you've done a lot of volcanic mine.
I love this, but it's a tad annoying because this would have been great when I was doing it.
Yeah, I'm about to start it.
It's really this. So you're not too familiar with it, but
no,
before
I'm not.
you kind of go into the mine, there's like a sort of period where you can't go down into it. Mm-hmm. So a timer would be great. So you can kind of
so you can sort of see how long, right?
Yeah, because if you're not on time, you can't go in with everyone else.
Okay. What about the cap?
The point cap, so basically how it works is the more points you get, the more XP you get when you leave. And I feel like shouldn't you be rewarded if you put in an extra effort?
So that actually does affect XP rates then.
That would do, but it's very rare that you get. It's very rare when you go above cap though.
Oh, okay.
But it's very, very difficult.
So it would only be for like the pro teams.
Sweats.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd be less okay with the XP one if it is like a sizable amount. Obviously, I don't know. I haven't done volcanic
It wouldn't be a
yet,
ridiculous amount. So I think for the most part when I was doing it, I was leaving the mine with about sort of anywhere between like 2k points and like 2.7 to 3k. I rarely go over 3k.
Oh, okay.
And
so
that would
the current
normally
cap
grant
is
you about
60k.
sort of yeah. So there you go.
Right. Okay. Sure. In that case, fine. Fossils. I'm gonna try and speed through some of these because they're boring.
It's just fossils.
Should we add toggles for the fossils on Fossil Island?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yep, go.
Hydra question. I like this question.
Yeah. This is a yes.
It's fucking annoying when it when you think it's you go in and you just get smacked.
It's the same with Unlift, right? It always attacks with range first,
Yeah.
so it makes sense. It's a bit annoying when you go in the room and you just get hit for like 30 damage just because. Yeah.
The only issue I have with this is that it is like if you do Hydra right, you take literally no damage. The only way that you ever take damage is from the first hit because you have to guess whether it's a range or a mage attack. After that point, every single attack you can pray perfectly. So you are literally just able to stay here indefinitely now if this change happens, which is potentially awkward.
It is not really difficult. It is just a counter 3 simulator, but it does catch up on you. You will eventually get hit unless you're like a god gamer. But yeah,
I am a god gamer.
But you've got 65 KC and you got the pen fucked off. I can't be honest.
I don't even. I think it was. Wait, I can't remember what KC I got it on. I'd say like 40 something. But whatever. Chambers of
I'm sending you a
Xeric.
screenshot. Look what I got.
Chambers of Xeric questions. Should scavs spawns be consistent and determined based on group sizes?
Yes.
I don't really see how like this is still the sort of question that's being asked. Like scavs have changed so much.
Scavs are annoying because originally, for those, I don't know how familiar you guys are with it, but before you used to get small scavs as well.
Yeah.
And they were the worst. And now, I don't know, you should know, because prepping's irritating as it is. So you should know where the scavs are, in my opinion. But,
I wonder like how much of effect this has on speedrunning.
It would have quite a large effect because you'd be able to plan the entire raid.
Don't really. It's not a massive question, I don't think.
Yeah.
If it changes, it changes to me.
Yes, I vote yes.
Should we change it so scavs drop the loot to whoever deals the highest damage?
Yes.
Yes,
I mean,
obviously.
Makes sense.
Why is that not a thing already?
Should we implement the proposed change to the Chambers of Xeric map generation? So have you guys looked at the map generation thing that they were talking about?
I have. I don't know about Grant.
No.
I believe they should. So you could pick what size map you want. I think that'd make it a little bit...
Wait. Give me a quick rundown.
Go on, Will.
So I'm just going to read the big blurb out for everybody that's listening and maybe hasn't read the blog, just so that we all get the complete picture. So the Chambers of Xeric has been out for 3 years. The nature of how the raid is randomly generated has resulted in players entering and leaving until they get a raid they are happy with. Over time, certain rooms have been changed to be more desirable. They will never all be equally balanced, but we currently feel that the vast majority of them are in a good state. However, this does not mean that an issue... however, there does remain an issue in the map themselves. Currently, there are 26 map variants that designate the quantity and location of the combat, puzzle, farming, and scavenger rooms. 2 of these 26 maps are large maps, of which 5 are combat rooms and 2 or 3 are puzzle rooms. 16 of the 26 are medium maps, 4 of which are combat rooms and 2 puzzle rooms. The rest are small maps with a mixture of 3 or 4 combat rooms and 1 or 2 puzzle rooms. We are proposing creating a new map pool, which you would be able to toggle between depending on your needs. This new large map pool would be purely comprised of 5 combat and 3 puzzle rooms. This is for players who prefer longer raids. The current map pool would also be rebalanced to have an equal chance of getting medium or small raids. Hopefully that clears things up.
No, I thought it was something to do with scouting. I was a bit mad, but yeah, okay.
I mean, it kind of is, because they're obviously going to be rebalancing the current rooms.
I like this, actually. I'm indifferent because part of me is like, no, that's horrible. But the other part of me is like, it's still randomly generated. It's just a map pool. It's not like you're not picking the monsters, right? It's
you don't get to pick what's going on.
Yeah, no, totally. It's just determining how many combat
meet in the middle, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Dane.
Yeah. The only thing with that is right now, for those who don't know, there's a certain type of raid. I think it's a it's a Vasatecton Vespula rope crab.
Yeah,
that is the world record raid. So if you're going to set a world record run, that's the raid you want.
In terms of speed run.
Yeah. So that's the raid you want to do it, right? And I feel like finding that raid would be a lot easier. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, like that it shouldn't stop an update though, because let's face it, speedrunning is like 1% of the PvM community. So
yeah,
I'm happy with that. Yeah, I agree. It should be like what you said, Dane, like a toggle sort of thing. Like if you want to look for large raids, then that's fine. But if you want to just do a lot of them, then you should be able to do that.
If you're just a filthy casual like me.
Anyway, next we have Nightmare. So I really like the look of this boss, and it makes me sad that it's not like a pop-in boss in terms of the people that do it.
Just because it's horrible.
Yeah, and it's sort of similar to a lot of these changes are similar to what we saw with the Grotesque Guardians. There's just a lot of like dead time and like pain in the ass stuff that just shouldn't be there.
The problem with Nightmare is it's so restricting. Like, you have to have 5, or it's like going solo and get 25-minute kills and get 5 sapphires. It's not fun. You should be able to go in trios.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fight should be a lot quicker. And I believe they're speaking about the pet rate. That, in my opinion, should also be brought down. It's far too rare.
Okay, we'll go through the questions. So first question, should we change audio cue for when the curse ends? I know not a lot of players play with audio on. I do. I know you do, Grant. I find it very helpful for PVM, so I'm a fan of this. Dane, you don't play with sound on, do you?
I do sometimes. It just sort of depends what sort of mood I'm in, or if I'm doing it. I do if I'm doing new PVM. So like if I'm doing like a raid. Well,
I was in the
now,
same boat as Dane, but then it just got to the point where I just kept it on.
Just leave it on.
Once I learn a boss, so it's very rare that I'll turn it on. I'll not be listening to music. I'll obviously be in Discord. So
that's fair.
Should players completely negate all damage from husks and parasites if they pray correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes.
Should we change the scaling for shields and totems to 200/30 per player for groups of 5 upwards?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it to groups of 4 upwards, so you can have 4 people do it and not 5.
Stop the question, Dane.
3.
Stop the question.
Should we reduce the start time for your first Nightmare fight from 40 seconds down to 30 and subsequent fights from 30 to 20?
30 seconds is... one thing I want to add there is a lot of people were kind of, a bit meh about that, purely on the fact that Nightmare... The meta for Nightmare is having an ult, right? I don't know how much you guys know, but you basically have an ult that between kills runs in, heals you, and then leaves, right? But Valor, as someone I know, he's got 12,000 kills, and even he said 30 seconds is more than enough time to heal your account, trade over some food, and leave. That's more than enough time.
Yeah, so, 10 seconds is probably enough time.
So 30 seconds is fine. It reduces the amount of time you're in there, and I'm a big fan.
Final Nightmare question. Should we change the scaling of the Nightmare pet drop chance to what is described in the blog? So it basically increases your chance for having like lower groups. So it's 1 out of 800 for solo, 1 out of 1600 for duo, etc., etc.
Because overall the time's still going to remain the same.
Yeah. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right, Eldritch Staffs. There's a couple of gear questions, and we'll try and hurry through these. Should we reduce the spec attack from Eldritch from 75 to 55 so it matches the Volatile Staff?
I agree, yeah. Just make it more valuable.
To me. So should we change the on-death behavior for Ava's devices so they're no longer destroyed on death?
Yep.
Again, makes sense to me. It's an untradable. Yes, that's how most untradables work. Finally, should we add the ability to swap out ammunition in the toxic blowpipe without needing to remove the current ammunition?
I'll tell you why I'm such a big fan of this, right? I've done it 4 times now, because I don't know if I do a lot of Sarah, I do a lot of solo Sarah, and I always go to get my ecumenical keys, and I always put like myth darts in my blowpipe to go and kill the things in the dungeon, because I'm not using my dragon ones, bro, for that. And I always go to Sarah, and I'm like, why am I killing these? Like, why is it taking so long? And I always have myth darts in my fucking blowpipe.
This wouldn't solve that problem though, because you still got to use the other darts on them.
Yeah, you're still retarded. It's not a matter of...
Well, I thought you could put 2 types of darts in the blowpipe. I thought that was the question.
No, it's not. It's... If you have your blowpipe and you use ammo on it, it replaces the ammo that's inside of it with the one that you just used on it.
Alright, don't laugh, Dane. You can't afford dragon darts.
My man over here just...
That will be bleeped, by the way. That's also going to get bleeped.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, I can't afford rune darts, man, let alone dragon darts, so...
Then I honestly don't care about this question, then. That's okay.
It just means you don't have...
for this question. I was I can have multiple darts in my pipe and I can change...
I do agree with you, and I think you should be able to have more than one type of dart in it.
Yeah, and you just change them, but you have to be out of combat or something.
Yeah, and whatever it may be to be able to do that, then fine.
Yeah.
But this doesn't achieve anything, this update.
I
just
read
means that you're doing one less click.
No, it just means that...
so wrong.
It just means you don't have to unload it before you reload it.
I skimmed that. I was like, oh, yeah, sweet.
Fucking unbelievable, you two.
All right, whatever. Then fucking fine, yes, but I don't care about it.
Fraudulent question next.
What? Right, okay, so that's the end of the blog.
I'm upset.
There is one section at the bottom. We need your minigame qual suggestions. And this actually leads quite nicely onto our topic for the week.
Remove pest control.
But before we do that, we need to thank our sponsors. So
What?
Raid Shutdown. Okay.
NordVPN.
Moving on. NordVPN.
Harry's.
Okay. So this week we are going to be looking at the topic of competitive gaming or esports. So this is something that we've briefly mentioned in the past, and something that has been brought to my attention again relatively recently by a content creator known as EVscape. And
Fuck the high-level community.
he last week, the 17th of September, so this week, he ran a PVM speedrunning cup.
It was sick.
Which was amazing.
It was
amazing to watch. I don't know if you managed to catch any of this, Dane. There is a VOD on his channel with like a whole 21-hour stream, which has all of it on it. So I'll send that to you later.
Okay. I did not.
But it was amazing to watch. So it sort of prompted me to think about what sort of directions this game could go in terms of esports.
This is the one thing that I really wanted.
Yeah,
I can't
like
lie.
a PVM thing.
I loved it. I thought it was so good. It was such a great idea, and like, because I watched the majority of the stream, and it was like really well put together. So I thought it was sick. I loved it.
He spent so much money and time on
like
the production
EVscape
quality.
may be like the biggest honeydew melon in the southern hemisphere, but it was a good. I'm kidding. I like him, but yeah,
what is wrong with you?
Oh shit! Here comes the Twitter beef. Nah, I generally do have a lot of respect for him, and the video was sick.
Yeah. So yeah, esports in general. I've written down 4 topics that I want to talk about, and they're all different branches of what I could conceive of esports existing in terms of old school. And I say esports, I don't want it to be like an esports sort of thing, but like some sort of organized. Yeah, exactly. Some sort of organized competitive something. Not like I'm not expecting like the LCS. You know, we're booking out Madison Square Garden to fucking
Why not
watch the finals of.
Today it's an EVscape stream, tomorrow the world, mate. I'm just saying, like, we've got so much to
When is old school going to be in the Olympics is what I want to know.
True.
Okay, so the 4 topics I've got written down are PvP, PVM, skilling, and to link back into the blog, the minigames.
Sure.
So I think it makes sense that we start off with PvP, primarily because it's what already exists in the game. And secondly, it's something that we actually have very little knowledge about, so we can get it out of the way really quickly. So, PvP.
A lot of PKers were just like,
Well, no, I mean, like,
upset.
just because I'm an idiot doesn't mean that they're all idiots. So, for PvP, we have obviously the Deadman tournament, which is the biggest sort of competitive thing that old school has to offer. We have the PvP All-Stars tournaments. And a few years ago, we had the Clan Cups. So those are what exist in the game at the moment in terms of competitive content. What are your opinions on watching old school PVM? Do you guys PvP? Do you watch it? Do you watch the Deadman finals? Do you watch the PvP stuff?
My favorite ever stream that the old school channel ever did was the PvP All Stars. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was awesome.
And the 1v1 card. I don't know if you remember that one, but that was the one, the Money one. That was also great.
Forget the Clan Cups because they are shit.
There's just too much going on, I think.
Basically.
It's just
not even
an
fun to
ocean
watch,
of just
though.
prayers and just damage. Just you can't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes me sad.
If there was tweaks to Deadman, I would, because I quite a lot enjoy watching that, especially like towards at the end. Like if like the finals of it are really good. I think a lot of people watch it who wouldn't normally watch it in the first place, and then even if you're watching like streamers do it, you know, like the week before, you know, like the training that they do, and just to see how many hours people put into it, it's I do quite enjoy watching it. Unfortunately, obviously, as we know, it's the system that it's built on isn't absolutely top of what it could be. and I feel like it just needs to be tweaked. But how they do that is a completely different topic. So
what's the area that you find that it could be improved on? Because to me, I see Deadman and I immediately just think of clans. Like there's
exactly.
clans just feeding one person all of the gear and stuff, and then that person goes on to, like
the finals and whatever they want to do.
I think my answer is probably why I did actually enjoy watching All Stars as well. I think that was quite good. But I enjoy watching Deadman because it is literally, in theory, it should be every man for himself. But like you say, because you've got like 1,000 people just supplying one person, it's never fair. And so that's what I'm saying. I don't know how you try and fix that.
In a perfect world, it would be every man for himself.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, that will never happen. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that it'll never happen, because we don't. I think clan PvP, as we mentioned before about revs, it's a good thing. It needs to be in the game, and I don't really have a problem with clans feeding people. But I think they can have Deadman mode, but also have other tournaments that are non-clan exclusive, such as the 1v1s or All Stars or whatever. Just kind of make sure everyone gets a shot.
Yeah, like Dane mentioned earlier, this is an MMO, right? Yeah, this is not a single player. As much as they push Iron Man and stuff, like
that's boring.
Yeah, the game thrives when communities are formed, right? So for me, I don't see clans as being like a terrible problem. I feel like it does you can well, you can't. I don't think you can. I think it would be incredibly surprising to see a solo player win Deadman, because like, fuck me, like, well done, right? Like,
well, that adds an element of story to it, though.
But yeah, exactly.
It's always like the underdog story, like, oh my god, is this person a solo player or is he a member of a clan?
Why I enjoy watching Torvesta's videos on it, because he does all of the stuff before the finals by himself. Like, he doesn't have any clans or whatever. Admittedly, like, in the finals, he will team up with a clan, because that's the only way to survive. Like, if you have like 500 people throwing a chin at you, you're not going to survive, right? So you have to do that.
Loads of tunk.
Get a Dinnies, you'll be fine. But yeah, so as for like PvP stuff in general, you said that the Clan Cup was just boring to watch because
it was just an ocean of protect mage prayers and just random damage splats. You couldn't really see anything, and it was just Ian Spam, bless his heart, trying to commentate it. And like, it's just when Ian Spam and Skipper and stuff, when they did the 1v1s, it was awesome. It was genuinely so good.
Yeah, so okay.
But when it's
I was gonna say, so it seems more like the issue isn't necessarily like Clan Cup as an idea, but more that it's like a huge clusterfuck, and then you get like the finals where it's like 1v1. So would you feel better about watching a Clan Cup where, let's say, a clan puts 10 players in, and then there's like a huge bracket where like people like fight against each other?
That is a good idea. I quite like
really
that.
Cool.
Or maybe even have it so there's like 5 teams of 10 and they all fight in separate locations, maybe even in like instances or on the same map. And if it was on the same map, you could have it where like a team wins and then they come and support another team in a different part of the map.
Okay, I see what you mean.
That'd be quite good. But
like part of the maps open up and stuff, and like you can kind of move it.
I feel like there are just so many different things that this game could do with PvP, and it just seems like Jagex have thrown all of their eggs into the Deadman basket, and that makes me kind of sad.
Pog. There's so much cool stuff they could do.
Because like one of the things that interests me about Clan Cup, and when I was researching for this podcast, looking up all the teams that won it and stuff, it's just that they have so many different sort of, I don't want to say brackets, but like they have a pure Clan Cup, so it encourages people in that community to get involved. They have like a maxed main Clan Cup, and then they have the skilling Clan Cup. And with the clan system coming in next year, I just feel like it would be it would be like a really cool thing for Jagex to like embrace that and have some sort of competition between clans. Yeah. So I don't know. There's just a lot that you can do with that system, and it feels like they just don't.
Well, I think competition becomes a lot more fun when you've got a flag to rally behind. So I feel like if you've got a clan that you're representing, it's going to be a lot more fun than just kind of entering this blind and hoping for the best. So clan competition should most definitely still be the core of what eSports, if we're going to call it that, in old school is. It's just a better way of making it watchable.
So after looking at what we had, I was looking at what is it that other competitive player versus player games do? And that doesn't necessarily mean like MMOs, but I come from a competitive Call of Duty background. So I was looking at shooting games. Like, why is it that I enjoy watching certain games over other games in terms of competitive? And I found myself coming up with a list of a lot of different game types that I enjoyed watching.
S&D.
Because they have different objectives to them, right? So like S&D, for example, is you have to plant the bomb, everyone gets 1 life, which is just odd for Call of Duty because it's a game where you respawn. It's not like CSGO where you have 1 life all the time.
Yeah.
So it like mixes it up. And I was trying to think, like, what game modes could we introduce into old school that would be interesting to watch outside of just like this guy kills this guy. And I came to the conclusion of Capture the Flag, which we basically have in Castle Wars, and King of the Hill. So we'll come on to Castle Wars a bit later at the mini games. But I was wondering, what if you could come up with certain like game modes that exist within sort of like LMS does.
Yeah.
So let's say there is like a hill somewhere where if you have 3 of your team stood in the hill, you gain points, and the other teams have to come and kill you to like get you out the hill so that they can go get the points.
Is that like headquarters off Call of Duty?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, that was my favorite game.
Yeah,
mode. I
if you
would.
played Overwatch, you'll be more familiar with it as well. But I think that'd be a really cool idea,
So-
honestly.
Oh. Is that
Is it your
BBC
nan?
or is that Sky
You've
Sports?
been bamboozled.
No, I think that'd be sweet, actually.
But yeah, so I was just trying to think like what other sort of modes could we see? Because as much as I enjoy the idea of like 1 versus 1 or like whoever kills this guy is the winner, I feel like there would be a lot more interesting strategy involved if you could, like if you die, you respawn in a graveyard somewhere and then you have to run back to the objective. So maybe something like domination from Soul Wars is something I've got written down in minigames. So, but I am aware that a lot of minigames do involve PvP, so there's going to be some overlap. But yeah, just something like that where there's more to it than whoever kills the other guy is the victor. I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on like an objective behind
I'll say right now I'm a big fan, but what I'll find is that if Jagex were to back any of the current minigames we had, i.e. Castle Wars, it would do well.
Yeah.
But they're just not doing it. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, if they were like, okay, in December we're having a Castle Wars, like team versus team event, like all the Castle Wars pros are like living in drain pipes right now would come out and be like, hello, I've been waiting for this.
Well, this is something
you know what
that
I mean? Like, it'd be sweet.
it's something that I'm going to talk about later on when we talk about mini games. But yeah, like I completely agree. It's they're in the you get back in your gutters, you little
I
rats.
didn't mean it like that. I just meant like they would
Yeah, I know
come
what you
out
mean.
of the shadows.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there is a lot of scope for more competitive sides of this game than just Deadman, which is what like has driven me to pick this as a topic, because I love this game and I want to see it being pushed to its limits more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
I love playing COD when I was younger, to the point where I started competing, and then I liked watching the competitions, and then I wanted to see more of the competitions. It's the same with every like competitive game I played, like League of Legends or whatever. You start playing it, you get into it, but you want to see like the highest level players doing the shit that makes them, the highest level.
Here they are.
So when I think about like a lot of these, when I think about a lot of the high level players, not in terms of like high level community or whatever, but like the good players in the game, the only way that we know about any of them is if they are content creators. Like if they have a YouTube channel.
True. Wooks being probably the biggest example.
Yeah. So the guy that did that won the Fire Cape speed run, the Jagex.
Wait, no, sorry, that was the level 3, my bad.
What
was his name
Dead
again?
Wilson, the guy that won the speedrunning challenge and got like a unlimited membership or whatever it was, because Wooks was in first up until like the last attempt came in, which was Dead Wilson, who then won it.
Yeah.
He doesn't make YouTube videos from what I can find.
He does stream.
Oh, does he stream?
He does
Dead
stream
Wilson
it so often.
streams,
Yeah.
Okay, so like I had like no exposure to him. Like even if you say he streamed, I had no idea he streamed, because he's just fallen beneath the radar. But like if Jagex did anything to like promote like his victory, or like, do you know what I mean? Like if there was some sort of exposure beyond just YouTube. That would be cool. Zazima didn't make YouTube videos back in the day, but he's a legend because of what he accomplished in the game.
He's the GOAT, mate.
Yeah. So for me, I just want to see more sort of players like that.
The GOAT.
GOAT of RuneScape.
But just think how many Wookses are out there that don't stream or make YouTube videos.
No, true. There's so many.
I mean, there's one in this call right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, mate.
And he's notorious.
Oh shit. Wait, no, not me.
Yeah, see, Deb Wilson, he was popular because he's actually, they believe he was the 8th person to get tournament law. So he was quite a big gamer.
Well, there you go.
That's why.
Well, I'll move on from PvP unless there's anything else that you guys want to add to that conversation.
Honestly, I think we've covered a lot of it. Like,
yeah, I think
we can all agree
on more on the original
ideas,
mini games basically, and then see what happens to that, because there's a lot of old school professional and not professionals. That's the wrong terminology. But there's a lot of older players that are very, very good at all the older mini games that would really get back into it. And it's something that I don't think it would be too hard to set up either, because you've already got all the infrastructure there in the first place. You just need to make a tournament.
I don't think it would be difficult, because Jagex recently gave because EVscape, we were talking about him doing the PVM Cup, the speedrun thing, but prior to that he did the other thing. He did the what's it called, the last man standing thing.
Yeah, he did
exactly. So
and Jagex gave him a free map to do it.
Yeah, I don't think
the
it's
2v2 tournament that he did with all the content creators.
Yeah, with Boaty and Torvesta and all those guys. It was what was it called? I can't
remember.
But it was really good.
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was essentially like Warzone. Like, it was a battle royale. It was you would
you Iron Manned your way to a gear, and then you had to get to the
and it was really good to watch.
So speaking of EVscape, we'll go on to PVM now. So the speedrunning cup that we were talking about earlier happened this week, and I thought that EVscape did a fantastic job in terms of organising this, and he also mentioned that he got no help at all from Jagex, and they are actually making it harder for him to do this cup. So I think that is incredibly shitty from Jagex.
Is there a reason for that? Oh.
He wouldn't give a reason, because I think that would be a bit of a middle finger, but he was asking for more support from them, and they were just like, no. So I don't know what's going on there.
It was
but
so good to watch.
That's sad.
So, like, it was, as someone who does PVM on the daily, and I knew not that I know them personally, I know some of these people in there that were who I watched stream and stuff. It was good to see them get more of a spotlight on them, like guys like Hayo and Atiko and stuff like that. Like, they're known speedrunners in a small community, but now thousands of people have seen them on EVscape stream. It was so good. And
so for those that didn't see it, I'll just quickly run over what actually it was comprised of. So everybody had a team of at least 3 people, and then they had a sub, if I'm not mistaken. And every team in the first round went into a best of 3 against another team. So Team A plays Team B. Team A gets to pick their PVM challenge, Team B gets to pick their PVM challenge, and the tiebreaker is Theatre of Blood. So let's say my team is playing against Dane's team, and my team is...
you've won then.
My team is exceptional at speedrunning the Inferno, because you have yours truly. So I pick the Inferno as my PVM challenge.
Please put your Inferno time on the screen right now. I'd love to know.
Nope.
It won't fit.
It won't fit.
Just too many zeros. Dane and his team are experts at running challenge mode Chambers of Xeric. Purely for example's sake, right?
Yeah, definitely for examples.
This fucking flamer! Holy shit!
It's got to be done. I don't know.
Well, so the first event is I do my speedrunning of the Inferno. Dane's team does his speedrunning of the Inferno. Whichever team gets the quickest time wins a point. After that event, we go on to Dane's challenge. So my team does Chambers of Xeric challenge mode. Dane's team does Chambers of Xeric challenge mode. Whoever's team gets the fastest time wins a point. If we're 1-1, then we go to Theatre of Blood, speedrun Theatre of Blood. Whoever wins that wins the series. So that's the idea. Yeah. So that round 1 is a best of 3. Round 2 is a best of 5. So each team picks 2 PVM events, and then they have Theatre of Blood as the tiebreaker. And then in the final, it was a best of 7. So each team picked 3 events. I won't spoil any of the results.
I haven't watched it, so I've not watched it yet.
EVscape spoiled it, so you can name it. He did literally say the winner on stream. He was like, fuck.
What a forehead. So yeah, like I would highly recommend anybody that's listening to this, including yourself, Dane, go and watch it. Yeah, it'll be linked down below. He's done a fantastic job with it all. It was incredibly well produced. So go and support. And all of the teams, there was a prize pool, and he donated all of the donations and subs from his stream to the prize pool as well. So
it's an all-round pretty sick.
Yeah,
just out of questions, did he get all the teams to record what they were doing, and then he just streamed it all in one go?
Yeah, so
every team had their own perspectives recorded, and he would put it all up in a video on the stream and stuff.
And it was all one attempt. So you couldn't do multiple attempts. It was your first attempt is the only attempt that counted. And this was all verified by one of EV Stream's moderators who was like live spectating the entire thing. So
that's quite good.
Yeah, so it was all legitimate. To the point where I guess this is a slight spoiler, so if you guys don't want to have it spoiled, then just skip ahead like 15 seconds or whatever. But the PVMer Lake, when he was doing his infernal run for his team, he forgot to fill his rune pouch with runes. So he
still got it.
He did an inferno without runes, speed running it, and he got like a 67-minute timer or something.
Yeah, he did it with chins, right? He did the
it was just phenomenal to watch. So go and watch it. If you're a fan of PVM, then you will love watching this, I promise you.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it will inspire you to push yourself.
Totally.
Which is what I love, and it's what I want to see. Like, I want to see people like pushing it to the limit so that I can then watch them and be like, wow.
So many people said that PVM couldn't become competitive because it was just doing the same, and that is just went and proved that it could be. So.
Exactly. So in PVM or PVE for other games, there are a few games that do competitive PVM stuff. So you look at World of Warcraft, they do stuff like server firsts. So when a new piece of content comes out, sort of similar to what happened to Theatre of Blood, everyone will be rushing to get it the first on the server.
Oh, it's Golden Alphas and RS3.
Huh? Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was thinking that they could maybe, every sort of like 3 months or whatever, design a boss with no items that are dropped by it or whatever, purely for the mechanical challenge of doing it. And then the first person that does it gets like a trophy, sort of similar to what you get from leagues, you know, like the untradeable
trophy and stuff like that.
Yeah, just sort of something like that, where you could have people trying to compete to see who wins the trophy, who kills it first. And again, like this wouldn't need to have like a lot of artwork done or any thought put into like power creep in terms of what it's going to drop or whatever, because it would just be no drop, you just killed it, well done, you're doing it for the challenge, which I thought could be quite cool. You could also do stuff like, you know how in the tournament worlds you had like the gear setups for like hybriding. I don't know if you guys remember this. Dane, you and I used to do Theatre of Blood on the hybrid worlds.
We used to do them all the time. We duoed as well on the tourney worlds.
Yeah. So there was that chest that you could like pick a gear setup from for PKing.
Oh yes. Stats as well, wasn't it like 45 defense?
So it would set you to like a preset thing. So I was thinking, well, what if you could do like a world like that where you have like gear picked from Jagex and say like, okay, everyone has to do a Chambers of Xeric with this gear. Whoever gets the fastest time wins, and you win certain prize for it. I don't know, but just like anything, if they did like anything to contribute towards like the competitive side of the game, I just feel like that would be really cool. It's just something that they miss out on.
Anything that's going to take the core mechanics of the game, i.e. PVM, PvP, whatever, and make it competitive, I'm totally down for. As long as it's like fun to watch, then yeah, for sure.
I feel like they don't even need to invent new like formulas, if that makes sense, because they've already got a lot of the infrastructure there. Like if you look at the content creators, it's like we're saying about, you know, EVscape. He's just made his own format.
Yeah,
and it's worked brilliantly.
Exactly. So all Jagex needs to do is just
need new ideas. They just need to actually support them officially and just see what
I'm
happens.
actually baffled Jagex didn't get involved there, because that was a genius idea. And
I
it
know,
was
it's
good to
incredible.
watch, so I don't know.
So I have I didn't really watch a lot of EVscape stuff prior to this because, you know, I just didn't. But I've gained a lot of respect for him in the community because someone that's willing to go out of their way and set up something like the Speedrunning Cup is exactly the sort of person that we need in the community.
Totally,
Exactly.
no, totally agree. Yep.
Quickly move on from PVM then, unless you guys have anything that you want to add to that. I couldn't really think of too much more than that in terms of like coming up with a competitive sort of thing for
I mean,
it.
you could do restrictions on like gear and stuff, like the first person to do like an inferno with like, I don't know, like bronze or something. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You could do stuff like that, but yeah, for the most part, I think speedrunning will definitely be the core
Yeah, that's
of competitive.
Fortunately, you can't really get around that.
and stuff like the 6 Jads thing that was on the tournament world, like they could just fucking do something like 2 Zucks at the same time
totally.
or whatever and just see who can fucking do it, because I can't imagine that would be difficult to do from like a programming perspective. You've already done it all. But yeah, so we'll quickly talk about skilling. I'm aware that Grant has to dip shortly,
about
so
5-6 minutes, but yeah.
So we'll finish off the stream. I think it'll probably be up the stream. We'll finish off the podcast just myself and Dane, because Grant's going to have to leave us, unfortunately. So Grant is obviously the pro skiller, being Mr. Maxscape. So
Use that term loosely.
I was trying to think about
like 1900s total boss man.
1700 actually.
Wait. Right, what were you saying?
No, I was just trying to think about how you could turn skilling into some sort of like competitive thing. And I know we had King of the Skill.
I was about to say, like, what was your opinion on King of the Skill? Because I thought to watch, you know, Wooks, like, I think Wooks and Boaty had a little bit of a kind of rivalry going there. That was really fun to watch, for sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it, but I think the only issue with it was that you basically needed to have multiple accounts in order to actually compete. Because like once you'd done it on one account, wasn't it like done? You couldn't like do it again.
Yeah, totally.
So you had to go and bond up another account just for the sake of, you know, like, yeah. So I don't know if they could do something that like maybe your account resets every day at reset, and then you get to like do it again.
Or just give you one opportunity, just like IP ban you from making new accounts.
So that was the only thing I could think of in terms of skilling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe something like
quickest, like you just speedrunning in the same sense. Like back to EVscape again. I watched him. He was doing a thing where he was trying to get the fastest ever 99 fletching.
Yeah, you know? I mean that was
stuff like that.
That was awesome. My only issue with stuff like, because I mean, like the obvious thing here is have like a week, see who gets the most total XP in a week. I feel like that encourages unhealthy behavior.
Total XP, because I believe King of the Skill was purely based on total level. It was who had the highest level at the end of the tournament.
I just don't.
XP is a whole different thing.
Yeah, I don't want people to feel like they have to play 22 hours a day of 3 ticking in order to win a tournament.
Yeah,
like that's not a healthy attitude. I don't think that we should be encouraging that at all. Maybe have like 8 to 12 hours of like a time that you can gain that XP, and then after that you're like capped for the day, and nothing more that you gain counts. I feel like that might be a bit more of a fair way of doing it.
I mean, didn't King of the Skill worked in the fact that whereas like when you logged out, you're you had, I think it was 24 hours total, and you still had like when you were logged out, your timer didn't go down. So there's kind of that.
Yeah,
you can get
that would be fine. Assuming that you weren't counting stuff like farming.
Yeah,
because
you'd
like 10
have to
minutes
stop
to a
the
farm run
timers
and
in between things, but yeah.
So yeah, in terms of skilling, that's all I could really come up with.
Yeah, because there's no account build you could restrict. That's the thing. Like, okay, you've got level 3 skillers, but let's be honest, that's just no one's gonna want to watch that.
The issue is as well, like a lot of that's the thing. Like it's not really interesting to watch someone 3-tick fish. I mean, it's mesmerizing for like 10 seconds, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, we move.
So in terms of like a spectator thing, like I can't see it being too enjoyable to watch compared to something like PVM or PvP. But yeah, that's all I really have on the skilling side of things, unless you guys want to add anything.
No, but I will kind of cut you off. That's gonna be me. Thank you for having me once again. I'll see you guys next week.
Check out Grant's socials and stuff. They'll be on the screen and in the description. We will catch you later, Grant. Dane and I
normally I'll be here to the end most weeks. It's just stuff.
I'll be. That's fine.
That's that.
Goodbye, friends.
Much love. No, my overlay is going to be fucked up. Fuck it. I can't be bothered to fix it. Let's just keep going. So, skilling done. Actually, I probably should fix it, shouldn't I? Okay, so the final thing for us to quickly talk about regarding esports is minigames. And this, I left this last because out of every single idea, the one that I've come up here is my favorite. So the idea is that you have a weekly league, so sort of like any other competitive endeavor. You have like every sort of Saturday or Sunday or whatever, you have the games, and each week is a different mini game that you compete in. So I've got written down here, let's say week 1 is 4 versus 4 Castle Wars. Then week 2, you do 5 versus 5 Salt Wars. Then week 3, you do Barbarian Assault speedrunning. Week 4, you move over to something like LMS, where like your PKing is tested. And then from there, you like go on to do different mini games with different amount of people, because there's a huge difference between something like 3v3 Castle Wars and 5v5 Castle Wars.
Yeah.
And for me, like that's a really interesting concept, because in order to be successful, you need to pick people that are either like specialists, or like you need to have people that are like really good all-rounders, and it would lead to like a lot of really interesting team building. Because let's say your maximum roster size is like 8. So within those 8 people, 5 of them need to be good at Castle Wars to compete in the 5v, or 4 of them need to be good at Castle Wars to compete in 4v4 Castle Wars. You also need to have people who are like good enough at Tribrid PKing to like win in the LMS weeks. And it would just sort of like mix it up every week, keep it interesting for people to watch. Because I feel like a lot of the time, especially with something like old school where the game doesn't change enough, it's different when you watch something like Dota or League of Legends, where every time you see like a competitive game, because of like patch changes and stuff, like different heroes or champions, like the meta is different. I don't think you'd see that too much in old school, because people are very averse to the idea of change. So I feel like the way that you get around that is to change the actual mini game that you're playing.
In terms of the format for that, though, well, how would you do that? So like there's a table in each week, and every roster that's entered gets a point if they've won or if they've lost, obviously, or whatever.
Yep.
But what's at the end of it?
So the end, I guess, like you would. So for me, I prefer watching leagues to watching tournaments, because I value the consistency of someone's performance over like whether they're on a streak. So as hype as like a final for a tournament is, like, to me, obviously we are football fans, so like, you know, watching is essentially the same thing every week, but it gets more hype by itself towards the end because the standings close in and whatnot.
Of course, yeah.
So I think the ultimate like end game for it would just be, you know, whoever like wins gets X prize. I don't know what X prize is, probably something like a huge cash prize or whatever, because that's what people want. Which would obviously be like crowdfunded from, I think it'd be like, do you remember the that well for the charity stuff that they did where you could like put in, I can't remember what it was called.
The Will of Goodwill it was called.
Yeah, so like you could put in GP and that would convert to like money that they would donate to charity.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a really good opportunity to do something like that for this, because you could then, it'd be a GP sync for one, which is always good. And you could also crowdfund the rewards from people that play the game. Because I would give money to that.
Content.
Yeah, because if I gave money towards it, that would encourage people to make content for it, and that's content that I want to watch. So exactly. I'm definitely the sort of person that would put money into it.
And I think it's good as well, because not everyone is in the position IRL to obviously sacrifice money, but no one's, some people are also put in that position in game as well, but I feel like in game it doesn't really matter because it's in-game money. It's just
Plus also, really, if you are in a situation where you have a lot of money in reality and you want to contribute, then you could just buy like a bunch of bonds, sell bonds to players. So you
help the community the best of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly, and then you contribute. So that was like my thought in terms of mini games like in a sort of league, the obvious issue with that is like balancing certain points against other points. Like is winning a 4 versus 4 in Castle Wars the same as, you know, a team winning in LMS? Like how does the point system work there?
I think you just have to do it like, for example, like in the football. So in a football league, you get 3 points for a win, no matter if you beat the best team in the league or the team bottom of the league. And then obviously, if it was a draw that week or whatever against, well, I don't know how you do a draw because you're not actually going against anyone, say head to head.
Yeah.
But obviously, so if you get the best out of everyone that week, then you will just get 3 points, even if you've only won by 1 point, or if you've won by 50 points, whatever it may be that week.
Yeah, I think that you'd need to balance mini games around the idea of you aren't allowed to draw. So something like Castle Wars, it's obviously very possible for you to draw in. In a Barbarian Assault speedrun, it is very unlikely that you'll both land on exactly the same time.
Yeah.
So either there would need to be like a constant that is the tiebreaker, sort of like what Theatre of Blood was used as in Eviescape's PVM speedrunning thing. So let's say if you do draw, then you have to play a game of Rune Link, or obviously not Rune Link, but you know, like there is a way of settling it.
Stake a mill.
Go to the arena. Chuck the bank.
So saying that, I think it'd be you could almost do it as like I said, because obviously you'd have, say there's 10 rosters in a league, and obviously each week 5 will go against the other 5. Well, you know, so obviously Team A will go against Team B, Team C will go against Team D, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have it as a draw, but it's how you then give points out based off a draw, because if both teams are getting a point, even though they've actually not won, so how would that work? But overall, I think it's a very interesting concept that I'd be interested to see happen. I mean, definitely.
It was an idea that I had actually last night. I was thinking about this, and I think it would be naive to think that I wasn't somewhat inspired by Soup and his Gillenor Games sort of idea, where like each week is a different challenge. But I really like the idea of having to test people on different skills. And I'm someone that like I'll put my hands in the air and say like I would watch every week if it was 5v5 Castle Wars every week. I would watch a tournament like or a league like that because I'm fascinated by that minigame. I think it takes a huge amount of skill.
You could actually as well, going off that, I feel like, I mean, it does actually depend what night you had it on. But if you remember, when was it? Like there was every like Saturday night there was an event. Was it? I can't remember if it was for old school or not. It's really annoying me. But you could have it where, say, every Friday night, this league occurs on Twitch or whatever, and you have obviously all these rosters going against each other. So Team A going against Team B will be, say, doing leagues, and the team, so say they're first and second in the league, that's their round for the week. Whereas the team in, say, 6th and 7th or whoever it may be are doing a different round. So they may be doing, you know, like Soul Wars if it obviously comes out or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, but then you would get to pick which one you
wanted to watch. Sort of thing.
You wanted to watch, yeah, exactly. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so like you don't see the same. Oh, I see. Yes, I see what you mean. So you don't. It's not like everyone in that week is doing Barbarian Assault, because if you don't like watching Barbarian Assault, like you're not going to tune in. So
exactly.
You can watch someone else. Do a different game.
Just imagine literally like a football game. So you've got all the different teams playing at roughly the same time almost every week, obviously, like on the same night, obviously. But then at the same time they're playing different different game modes. So some are doing Castle Wars, some are doing Soul Wars. Some are like, you know, whatever it may be. And I feel like that'd give the teams doing it more, because they'd be changing style every week because obviously say you had 5 people on a roster, but only 3 people could do it. It would mean that say there was, say, 8 people on a roster, and there was only, say, a maximum of 3 people on a team, depending on what sort of game mode you were doing. But you couldn't ever have the same 3 people on. Only one person could start or whatever. So it would mean that you'd have to know what's going next week. So
so you have to pick. Yeah. It would be really. I just think that there's like so much that you could do because we have so many mini games.
There's loads of mini
and
games,
a lot of them would need.
Does,
yeah, exactly. A lot of them would need patching up in certain places, but I don't know. I think it would be definitely interesting to have the sort of situation that you're saying, where not everybody does the same mini game every week, so you could pick which one you want to watch. It'd be interesting for like viewership, because let's say nobody's watching the Barbarian Assault speedruns, and everybody's watching Castle Wars every week. Then at that point, Jagex know, actually, okay, we might as well just make a Castle Wars league here, and have like that be like a weekly thing. But at least it gives them
like
some.
That's how it would go. Because I feel like people would actually watch Castle Wars League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just putting this out there. I'm genuinely next year I am going to try and organize a weekly league for Castle Wars. Watching EVscape do this PVM speedrunning thing has really inspired me to be someone that is actively trying to push a competitive side of the game. So for anyone that's listening that is interested in watching some sort of competitive Castle Wars action, let me know, leave a comment. If you're interested in helping out, then also great, let me know, send me a message, because I could do with all the help that I could get, to be honest. I'm sure you would be happy to like cast some of these games with me, Dane.
100%.
I think it would be just so interesting to try and get some of these, because there are some fantastic players out there. I think the Castle Wars community is one that is has a certain reputation, rather negative one, for being angry people and a lot of flaming and stuff going on. And I think that there is a lot that could be done to show that it is more than just people flaming each other. And there's actually a lot of strategy that goes into exactly how you're going to cap the flag, which ways you're going to go. I don't know. I just think it would be so cool to watch. So that's a project that I'm going to try and take on next year, when I'm done with like goals that I have for my account and what I'm trying to do. So yeah, that's just something that I've wanted to do for a while. EVscape has done a fantastic job, and it just goes to show that you don't need Jagex's blessing to go ahead and do these things. You know, if it picks up traction and more people start watching it and Jagex want to take it away from me, then fair enough. But someone needs to do something to try and, you know, get the game going in a certain direction. So I don't know. If that's something that you're interested in, then obviously just let me know, and I'm sure we can pick it up from there. But outside of that, I don't really have too much else that I can think about talking here. I've reached the end of my notes. Is there anything else regarding minigames, whatever, that you think is important esports wise?
Maybe not necessarily with esports, but and going away from like the leagues, etc., that we've just been talking about. What about Stealing Creation? I believe it was called.
I
know it's been spoken about before, coming to old school. What would be your thoughts on it, in terms of just like the overall impact on the game? And did you ever play it?
So Stealing Creation it's one of those mini games that is played specifically because of the rewards, not necessarily because of the gameplay, I think.
I'd probably agree with that.
People did Stealing Creation because of the sacred tools that you got, because it helped you with your XP. I feel like if it were to be in old school, it would the rewards would have to just go, because people would get so fucking upset by like this guy using his sacred pickaxe and is getting more mining XP than me, because I've done 99 mining myself. So I think that like the reward side of things would have to be balanced. In terms of the gameplay itself, I was actually a fan, because there was something for everybody there. If you're a skiller, you could go and do the skilling
and combat
things. Yeah, exactly. So, and if you were a PvPer, then you could obviously go and fight the other players. So I think it's like a very nice piece of content. I think it would fit really well in old school. My only issue with it would be the rewards. I don't know how.
It's almost just like Dungeoneering then for me.
Yeah.
The content itself is amazing, but how do you balance the rewards that you get from it? That don't just ruin the game.
I feel like, yeah, especially if you want people to keep doing it, because like the problem with a lot of the content is that once you've got the rewards, you're just done with it. Like, there's no reason to go back there.
Yeah.
Like, one of the few examples I can think of that's not like that, that's a minigame, is something like Castle Wars. People go back to Castle Wars because it's fun. You don't do it necessarily for the golden armor. You did it on RS3 when it was a trim requirement because it was a trim requirement. But people play Castle Wars because it's fun. And as much as I enjoyed playing Stealing Creation, I did it primarily for the rewards. So, I don't know, it would be a tricky one. For sure, trying to figure out what rewards you would give. Do you have any idea of like what you would give off the top of your head, or just...
Not really. I mean, whether or not you want to go down the XP route, because I don't think there's any sort of bonus XP in old school right now, from off my head. So, and I do like that there isn't. However, would it kill the game if there was, you got, say, like a boost, like a wearable boost, not necessarily like sacred tools, but maybe you got like something to wear in like the pocket slot, or whatever it may be, I don't know, and you got like 10% boost for X amount of time or whatever, I don't know, or it was maybe just have I just set the rewards that are just nothing to do with XP whatsoever.
Yeah,
just like
I think
outfits and stuff like that. I don't know. But
I think from my perspective, anything to do with boosting XP would just not pass anything, regardless of whether like fits in the game or not. I just don't think it would pass a poll.
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
I think that what you're more likely to see is if you get like a sacred axe that has like a 10% chance of giving you double logs or something. I feel like that's a better way to go if you want to introduce tools into the game, because it might not give you the XP for getting the extra log, but for people that want to do it for money or whatever, then at least they have that as an option.
Or maybe have it where you can buy an add-on for like,
yeah, for your dragon axe or whatever,
and it lasts for an hour. But like, yeah,
exactly.
You get like 30% more chance of getting an extra log or something, whatever it would be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, then you need to think about, is it worth my time doing Stealing Creations to get this add-on that gives me potentially like 4k in GP an hour in like extra logs? But like that sort of shit could be like balanced around,
to people that want it.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're doing it, then yeah, that's what's there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it would fit, but I don't know. Anyway, I think all right, how long are we into this podcast? We are an hour and 20. That's a pretty good length.
Good.
It is nice and wide. But yeah, so let us know what you guys think in the comments if you made it this far. Thank you very much, as always. Yeah, I think that esports is definitely something that we should be looking into, and I know that Jagex has like a head of esports person, Mod Rogue, is it? So it might be worth. Yeah, I think so. Might be worth me sending her a message to see if there's like anything that I could do involving Castle Wars that they would be able to help out with, because I think it's something that is vastly overlooked. But yeah, if you do want to see some sort of competitive Castle Wars league, there might already be one for all I know, but like the advertising of it is obviously clearly crap if I don't know about it. So yeah, definitely something that I want to do. Hopefully, something that you would want to get involved in as well, Dane.
Of course, we'll definitely be interested in that.
Yeah. So I think that's us done on esports. As we've said, thanks for watching, guys. Dane, do you want to add anything on to the end of this?
Thank you very much again for watching. This should be now a relatively common thing. Is it upload schedule, Will? Have we got one yet for anyone listening?
Yes, the idea is they moved the days that the blogs come out to Wednesdays now rather than Thursdays. So we record these on a Thursday because that's when initially blogs came out. So the idea was record it on a Thursday when the blog comes out, upload it Thursday night, and then people know what's going on. Obviously, those days have now moved to Wednesdays. I think Thursdays is still the best days for us to record. Obviously, we all have jobs and stuff that we need to work around.
On Thursday, no matter what.
So I think we're still going to be recording them on Thursdays. Hopefully they'll be up either Thursday night or Friday morning. Today, this is the 4th episode that we've done. I think 4.
Yeah,
not including 0.
3. I don't know.
I can't remember. And none of them have been uploaded yet. Hopefully tomorrow morning 0 and 1 should be up. and then from this point on, we're going to be trying to catch up. So today is the 17th of September. So hopefully on the 18th, we should have 0 and 1 up. And then I'm going to try and upload the rest of them every sort of 3 days until we get caught up with the present. Because obviously there's no point in listening to a podcast about stuff that happened 2 weeks ago, right? So
I think we might try and do timestamps so that if people that are listening to like episode 0, say like a month from now, that have just found them, they can maybe skip all the old
all the devlog stuff to like the conversation,
all the stuff that doesn't matter, and just go to like the actual chat about what we did to the game, or whatever it was that week that isn't sort of time bound. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm happy to do that. It's obviously going to take a little bit of time. I'm not a video editor. I'm teaching myself this stuff as we go. So please bear with me when it comes to stuff like audio quality and thumbnails and stuff, because like I'm not an artist. I'm not someone that does this a lot. So I'll try and come up with timestamps that are useful.
I say timestamps. I mean, very again.
But yeah, exactly. Like
perfect. But as long as
devlog and topic, idea. I can't go through everything and be like, oh yeah, 1437. We talk about Grant's ass or something.
People might actually click on that.
Oh yeah, clickbait.
All them dislikes already. Nice.
We have been cancelled. Cancel culture. Right. Okay. I think that's it. Is that it? I think that's it.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
Love you all. Hugs and kisses. See you next week.
Peace.